In July of 2024, I went camping with a few of my cousins on family land in Middle Tennessee, a lake we'd visited many times growing up. The land borders a quiet cove that feeds directly off the main channel of a popular lake, but it's far enough out that most people never come near it. Getting there is part of the isolation. You leave town, drive another 10 miles, then turn onto what barely qualifies as a road, a narrow gravel drive that dead ends in a clearing. From there, you have to park and hike almost a mile to reach the campsite. The walk-in feels boxed in. On the left, the ground rises sharply into thick woods and old, overgrown trails that were once used for horseback riding. On the right, the land drops off steeply, too steep to climb down, leading straight to the water. Every so often, through the trees, you catch glimpses of the cove and the hillside across it. That side used to be logging land decades ago, but it was never fully cleared. Now it's just untouched forest. The campsite itself is strangely perfect. Flat ground right at the water's edge, easy access to the lake, and behind you, nothing but a steep wooded hillside. No trails, no clear exits, just trees. We set up camp and spent the afternoon swimming, relaxing, and letting my dog explore. Everything felt normal, comfortable, familiar. As evening came, we started a fire, cooked dinner, and sat around talking while the sun went down. Not long after dark, we started hearing rocks fall behind us. At first it sounded random, small rocks tumbling down the hillside, the occasional rustle of brush. We assumed it was an animal, maybe something coming down to the water. But it didn't move through like an animal usually does. It moved back and forth. Whatever it was kept circling behind us, rustling the brush, getting closer, but never stepping into view. After a while, one of the guys picked up a small hatchet we'd used earlier and tapped it against a rock. Tap, 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 hoping to scare it off. The response was immediate. The woods went dead silent. No insects, no wind. Even the air felt different, cooler, heavier. Then, from the tree line behind us, we heard it. Tap, tap, tap. The exact same sound. Slow, deliberate, and unmistakably repeated back to us. That's when we debated leaving, but the trail out was long, narrow, and completely dark. We decided staying put was safer than trying to hike out blind. We retreated into our tent, a large 12-person tent that easily fit the 5 of us and my dog. Once zipped inside, things felt lighter for a few minutes, like whatever tension had been building had eased. Then we heard voices. It sounded like men having a low, muffled conversation just outside the tent. Not yelling, not whispering, just talking. Close. My dog noticed immediately. He was alert and focused, but completely silent, something I had never seen him do before. After a while, I unzipped the tent and looked outside. There was nothing there. No people, no movement, nothing disturbed. I laid back down, trying to rationalize it. Maybe voices carrying across the water from the main channel. Sound does weird things at night. I must have fallen asleep, because I woke up to my cousin gently shaking my arm. The voices were back. Moonlight filtered through the tent just enough to reveal a dark shape outside. Not clear enough to make out details, just a solid silhouette. I silently woke another cousin, shushing him before he could speak, and pointed toward the shape. We stayed completely still. The figure began to move, slowly circling the tent, again and again, getting close enough that we could hear something brushing against the fabric. This wasn't curiosity. It felt deliberate, methodical, like it was inspecting us. It stayed there until almost sunrise. The sky had just started to lighten when someone finally worked up the courage to look outside. Whatever it was gone. Nothing was taken, nothing disturbed. We told ourselves it had probably been a large cat, maybe a coyote. The voices? Probably sound carrying over water. We'd camped there too many times without incident. We decided to stay through the day, but leave before dark. The day slipped by faster than expected. By the time we noticed the sky shifting from blue to orange and pink, sunset was already creeping in. We started packing, not panicked, but urgent. It felt like we were racing something. The air was thick, oppressively still. Then, from the woods behind us, it came. A sound so loud it echoed across the water and down the cove. It sounded like a human scream, layered with something animal. Raw, broken, powerful. We didn't investigate. We left, and whatever was out there never showed itself, but it made sure we knew it was there.
I'm a freshman in college now, but this happened years ago when I was in 8th grade. And it's something I still think about late at night. One evening, my mum, my 2 sisters and I were coming home from the dollar store. We parked in the driveway and started unloading groceries from the trunk. My sisters went inside first while my mum and I stayed behind to get the rest. It was around 8 or 9 p.m. in late November. For context, our house sits on a hill, deep down some back roads through the woods. Our front yard is a downhill slope with a lot of open space. There are only a few trees scattered around, and on the other side of the driveway are dense woods. The driveway itself is very long. As my mum and I carried the last groceries toward the porch, we heard leaves crunching. We both stopped and looked into the yard. At first, we thought it was a deer. Its head was hidden behind a tree, and it was dark outside. But then it took a few steps backward, moving into the light from our front porch. That's when we realized it wasn't a deer. The thing was completely pale and naked, extremely thin, and standing on all fours. It didn't have a face. Its head looked like a mannequin. Its body, I can only describe it as looking like a demogorgon from Stranger Things. It turned its head toward us. Then it stood up on its hind legs. It ran across the yard, over the driveway, and into the woods. The entire time, it stayed upright. It was freakishly tall, so tall that when it crossed the tree line, the tops of the trees shook as it passed. My mum and I ran inside and shut the door. Once inside, we just stared at each other. I asked her, "Did you see that too?" She asked, "What did you see?" I told her. She said she had seen the same thing. We locked the doors and went to bed. The next morning, my mum went back outside to the area where it ran across the driveway. That's when she saw the prints. At first, they looked like deer tracks, but there were long sliding marks between them, and as the tracks continued, the hoof-like prints slowly turned into something closer to paws. My mum stopped following them after that. Over the next few days, strange things continued at night. One time, we had the sliding glass door open that leads to the back porch. Our dogs were standing there, growling harshly. My mum and I were trying to figure out what was upsetting them when we heard it. A loud, distant scream, like a howl and a cry mixed together. We rushed the dogs inside and locked the door. Nothing else happened after that, and eventually we moved to another city for unrelated reasons. But whatever that thing was that I saw in the yard that night, whatever left those prints. I hope, more than anything, that I never come close to it again. I was about 9 years old living in Suriname. At the time, and probably still rings true today, is a poor country with one major city, and the rest of the area is very rural. We lived in one of those rural areas, can't even call it a town, with our closest neighbor in front of our house, and the next neighbor is miles away. We also lived next to the rainforest. There is no reason for anyone to drive by our area. There is nothing but a dirt road and bushes and trees all around us. We also didn't have TV or any entertainment at the house. My siblings and I would spend our free time reading books, playing with toys or ride our bikes. And for years it remained that way. A quiet place with little to no visitors. One day I saw something that changed everything for me. Background about me. I always had experiences with ghosts as a kid, and still do rarely as an adult. I don't seek them out. I had my hair pulled, legs scratched, words whispered to me when no one is around. I just get used to it, and these are rare occurrences, so I don't think about it much. Back to the story, I was watching the yard dogs play when I saw a white male jogging past our house on the dirt road. The dirt road leads to a dead end. I have never seen this person before. My neighbors are Indian, and they lived alone. I asked my mom about that man. She didn't see him, and didn't know who I was talking about. He was wearing jogging clothes, I remember. He had shorts on. The dogs are guard dogs, but they did not bark or notice him. I couldn't see his face. I didn't think much about him until a few days later. I saw him again, jogging on the dirt road passing the house. I immediately ran to my bike and decided to follow him. Again, dogs were quiet for some reason. I don't know why I followed him. It wasn't curiosity. I didn't tell my mom or anyone, which I usually do. I just left with my bike, going slowly behind him, probably about 12 feet away or so. I didn't hear any footsteps. When you run in the dirt road, you would hear something. Gravel, dirt, something. I didn't hear anything. He didn't turn around. He didn't acknowledge me, even though I was obviously behind him following closely. I should have turned back. What was wrong with me? I couldn't stop myself. Something tells me to keep following him. We both said nothing to each other. We made it to the dead end of the dirt road. He keeps running, into the grass and straight towards the trees. The grass is tall, about mid-thigh to hip height. No sounds, no rustling. The grass barely bends around him, trampling through the grass. He kept going. I got off my bike. As I was about to take 1 foot forward to step on the grass to follow him, I heard my mum's voice to my left, loud and clear as day, calling my name. "Maggie!" I turned around and said, "What?" No one was there. No one was behind me. I turned back, facing forward. That man was gone too. No trace of him. I was alone. I felt a deep chill inside and immediately hopped on my bike and ride home as fast as I can. When I got home, my mum was cooking. She never left the house. And I never saw that man again. I truly believe that thing was not human. I believed I was charmed somehow, lured out from my house on purpose. That was not a ghost or spirit. There are some entities in this world that can't be understood or explained. I hope I never run into that again. Decades later, I met with a psychic medium who told me there is a guardian spirit protecting me, an older woman, but I don't think it's my late great-grandma. Not sure how much of that is true, but something snapped me out of it to save me, and I'm forever grateful for it.